Hanuman is one of the most popular deities and a profound person, but unfortunately, lots of people have translated this as monkey god, and it is so silly. And then based on that, they're making fun that Hindus just go worshipping monkeys and snakes and what kind of these things, So what do you think of that, the whole mistranslation of Hanuman as monkey god?
Yeah, this is very irresponsible, I would say, to translate Hanuman as monkey god or to translate Ganesha as elephant god.
Yeah.
So just because they have appearance like that or they look like that does not mean that Hanuman is a monkey. Hanuman, first of all, is a great learned person.
He knows Sanskrit.
Yeah, he knows Sanskrit, he knows Vedas, he knows Chanda, he knows meter, he knows Jyotish, you name it, he knows it. If you read Valmiki Ramayana and you read the qualification of Hanuman, he is one of the most learned person. First of all, the word Hanuman itself, we should know that the word Hanu means chin or the jaw in Sanskrit, and man comes from the word suffix matup, you apply, just like you have Shaktiman. So it's like Hanuman. So his chin was actually injured by Indra. There is a story that he was just a small boy and the sun was coming up. So he thought that this is some kind of fruit. So he jumped and he was very powerful. He is Vayuputra, so he could fly. So he flew and he thought he is going to catch this fruit. So then Indra thought that what is this going on? So he threw his thunderbolt, onto him, and then Hanuman fell, and when he fell he hit his chin onto the ground and it was injured. So that's why he became known as Hanuman. So sometimes he is also called Kapisha. Now Kapi is translated as monkey, and Kapisha could means the lord of the monkeys, but Kapisha also means something which resembles, has a particular color, this like brownish color. So that's what it means, Kapisha. Kapisha is also used for color. So we should not always think that Hanuman is just a monkey.
Yeah. Or a monkey at all.
Yeah.
He was an extraordinary brilliant man, highly educated.
Yeah, he was a very great scholar. It is described that he knew grammar, he knew the Vedas, he knew Arthashastra, he knew Niti very well. Even sometimes he was advising to Lord Ramachandra. So he was not just not even an ordinary human being.
Yeah.
He was extraordinary.
Okay, quite extraordinary.
Yeah, and physically very powerful. He was also a great yogi. He could fly into the sky and he could change his form. He could become small or big.
Now, why is he worshipped also?
Why he is worshipped? Because first of all, he was very devoted to Lord Ramachandra and he did great things. So people worship him to get his blessings, that he can also help us. Because all his life what he did, that he was actually just helping and serving and devoted to Lord Ramachandra. His life was just for Ramachandra and this was his great joy. So people worship him because they want his blessings. Some worship so that we can get the blessing of Lord Ramachandra through the blessing of Hanuman. Because there is a saying that Ram na chale Hanuman ke bila. Right? You might have heard that.
Yes.
Right? And Hanuman na chale Shree Ram ke bina. That they are always together. So if I want the blessing of some great man, I go through his servant. So he is not monkey god. Monkey is considered as a very rajasic person, jumping here and there and basically very destructive by nature. So Hanuman is not like that. Hanuman is a great devotee, he is a great bhakta of Sri Ram, and he is very balanced, he is very controlled, unlike other monkeys. I mean, if you have seen monkeys, they are all the time jumping here and there and destroying things.
Is he a Shiva avatar?
Yes, he is actually Shiva avatar who has come to do service to Bhagavan Ram.
So this is a very interesting point. Can you explain that Shiva takes the form of Hanuman to do bhakti to Ram.
Yes, so this is because Shiva in Bhagavatam, there is a very nice statement. It says Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu, that among the Vaishnavas, Shiva is a great Vaishnava, which means a devotee of Vishnu. So he is a great devotee of Vishnu, and being a great devotee, he comes in that form to do service. And people think, because we have this material concept, they think that doing service is like some kind of a torture. But this bhakti, which we translate sometimes as service or devotional service, is the greatest pleasure. So who is enjoying more, one who is getting served or one who is serving? This is difficult to understand for a common person with their material mind. Actually, there is the greatest pleasure is not in taking service, but in doing that service out of love. And as we have spoken earlier, that bhakti is its own reward. So that is the meaning of reward.
So Hanuman is learned, intellectual, bhakti also.
Right. Yes. So as Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanvan Mam Prapadyate. That one who is really Gyanvan, one who is a real Gyani, he becomes my bhakta. So because Hanuman is so learned, he doesn't want to leave anything. When Lord Ramachandra, he came from Sri Lanka, then many other people came with him. Angada also came, Vibhishan also came, Jambavan came, Nala Nila, all these, who were in part of his army, they all came. But after his ceremony was done, he was installed as a king, then gradually everybody was leaving, because Bhagavan Ram asked that, okay, now you go. And he gave everybody their blessings. But Hanuman did not want to leave. So he asked him that, what do you want? I am giving everybody some, like a boon, benefit, some vara. So he says, I only want service to your feet and nothing else. So that is the smartest thing. Because you can take something from Bhagavan, but to take Bhagavan's service, that is the highest. So Hanuman said that I don't want anything. I want service just to your feet, and therefore he is all the time in his service.
So it's very interesting that Hanuman is worshipped because he's a bhakt of Ram.
Yes.
More so than many people worshiping Ram, they're worshipping Hanuman.
Because if the bhakta is pleased, then Bhagavan is pleased.
Yeah.
So there is one statement by Krishna, very interesting statement to this effect, that those who think they are my devotee, they are not my devotee. Those who are devotee of my devotee, they are my devotee. So Aradhana Nam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param Tasmat Parattaram Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. Bhagavan Shiva is telling this to Parvati, that of all the types of Aradhana worship, the worship of Vishnu is supreme. But then he says that better than worship of Vishnu is worship of his devotee. So that's why people worship Hanuman. But then we should know that Hanuman is a Ram Bhakta. We should not misunderstand that Hanuman is Bhagavan. Then Hanuman will not be happy with that.
Right. Hanuman is not. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the chariot, the famous chariot, isn't there Hanuman on the...
Yes.
Tell us about that, because I've seen that whenever I see the chariot, there's a Hanuman on the chariot.
So there is a story about that. They're different story, but one story is that when the Pandavas, they were in the forest in Vanavas, one day they were in the Gandhamadhan Parvat, and Draupadi, she saw one flower going in the river, and it was very beautiful. So she wanted that. But before she could tell Bhima to get the flower passed away. But then he thought, if the flower is coming in the river, there must be some tree or some forest. So he started walking up, and Bhima was very powerful. He was walking with his club. When he walked, there is a Kadali one, it's still there. When he came to that place, he saw that on the trail, because in the mountain there are trails, there was an old monkey lying down there. So when he saw this, then he was, told the monkey, get off my way, shouted, but the monkey did not move. So then he came close to the monkey and he says, why don't you move? So he says, well, I am too old and the tail was blocking the way. So he says, you please move my tail and you go away, because it is considered as inauspicious to cross the tail. So Bhima, he was holding his club with the right hand. With the left hand he tried to lift the tail, but to his surprise he could not move the tail. So he says, how is this possible? So then he tried again, he could not do. Then he dropped his club, he used his right hand, he was not able to move the tail. So then he realized that this monkey is not ordinary monkey. So his pride was crushed. So then he folded and he asked, please tell me who you are. And then he said, I am your brother. So he revealed his identity as Hanuman. So then he said, I want to see your form which you manifested when you jumped over the ocean. So Hanuman said, you will not be able to tolerate that, because that is a very fierce form. So he says, no. So then he manifested his gigantic form on request of Bhima. And then he blessed him that when this battle will happen, he already predicted, then I will be on the flag of Arjuna, and whenever he is in danger, then I will make sound. So therefore Arjuna is known as Kapidhvaja, or one who has Hanuman on his chariot. So that's,
Wow.
Yeah, that's the story.
What a person to have on your team.
Yes.
Wonderful. So now a question on the Hanuman's army. Are they regular monkeys?
No, they are not regular monkeys.
Okay.
That's what we have to understand, that they are not monkeys as we think, because they were talking.
Right.
Right? And they were also walking on their two legs.
Right.
Otherwise, how would they
And
fight?
they're very smart. They built the whole Ram Setu.
Yeah, so they have, they have some characteristic. That's why they're called Vanara. So Nara, is human being. So Vanara means maybe human beings. Va,
So,
means
maybe modern interpreters and artists have made monkeys out of them, but maybe they were not like monkeys today.
They were not monkeys as we think.
So there was another kind of species, probably.
Yeah, some other kind of
another
species.
form,
Yes.
which maybe not human, not monkey, but some other form. And since we don't know of such a form, modern translators have translated them as monkeys. Maybe that's a wrong translation.
Yeah, there is a wrong translation. So there is a story about Ravana, that he did great tapas to get boon from Brahma, and his desire was that he wanted to be the ruler of the world and he wanted to conquer everybody. So when Brahma was pleased and appeared to him, so he asked that I should not be defeated by any devas and asuras and so on, but he did not say that I should not be defeated by like animals or human beings, so or some other species like that, because he thought that he is too powerful and anyway human beings cannot defeat him. So knowing this, the devatas, then they understood, so then they came and appeared as Vanara, and of course Bhagavan Ramchandra came as a human being. So even when he had abducted Sita, many people warned him that don't do this, Rama is a very powerful person. So he did not listen. He said, what, he is just a human being, I can take care of him. But then Rama came and then all Vanaras went, but these Vanaras were devatas. So this Vanara, the word is many times translated as monkey. Sometimes they say Hanuman.
Because Hanuman was a Vanara.
Hanuman is a Vanara, and then other people, Sugriv and all these people were Vanara. So they think that these are monkeys, but actually it is not just a monkey as we know of. They are not apes. It was some very special type of form which had some resemblance to them, because these Vanara, they were speaking.
So it is a being in a body which has many human characteristics of
Yes.
being very intelligent, speaking, and Hanuman is highly educated.
Right.
And having some aspect of a monkey in the sense having a tail.
Right. And
So,
some appearance.
Some appearance.
Facial resemblance.
So the correct thing would be to say this is neither human nor monkey, it's another form.
Right.
And there existed so many life forms, maybe they've gone extinct now, so we don't have to collapse it into monkey.
Right. In fact, they had resemblance with human beings. They could walk on two legs. They could actually use their, hands and thumb. So the word Vanara itself indicates that. For human beings, we have the word Nara, and it is Vanara. So Va means or, means is it a human being or something else? That's what the word itself signifies.
Vanara.
Nara, yeah. Like you say, Nara, Vanara. Is it human being or something else? Vanara can also means Va Anara. Nara, Va Anara. That is it human being or not human being? Because they had so much resemblance to human beings, at the same time they were not exactly human beings.
So this is fascinating. Where you have in the West they have come up with all these Lord of the Rings and all these kind of strange, amazing things in some other worlds, and they're inventing.
Right.
That is not real itihas for them. They're just inventing because it's so fascinating that there are many kinds of realms and many creatures and so forth. So in our case, this is real.
Right.
And we should be proud of that. We should be describing that this is a kind of life form we don't have on earth today.
And we don't need to imagine it.
And why do we have to collapse it to monkey just so that it makes sense to people?
Right. So we don't need to do that. So it's wrong therefore to think that Vanara or Hanuman is just a monkey. Of course the word Kapi is also used, which is monkey. But just like when we say Nara as a human being, the human beings are of various types. There are so many grades of human beings. So similarly when we say Kapi or Vanara, there are different types of that. So these were definitely not the monkeys as we are familiar with. It is certainly some other kind of species who may have a face like a monkey. They were more like a human being because they were talking and they were walking and they actually had all human characteristics.
Very interesting.
Yes. So we should know that we should not mistake them just for monkey. Just like Ganesh is not an elephant.
Right.